it into an office. There is a laundry room, but they converted that over into a shop where they were doing the rehab themselves. And so we need to convert that back over to a laundry room. There's not a close laundry facility, and there's an extra $800 to $1,000 a month in rent.
My name is Darwin German. I'm a real estate investor. I specialize in multifamily apartment properties. For the last 25 years, I've been involved in over 6,000 apartment units in 4 states. I love to take a property, fix it up, create value, and then refinance and take that cash out tax-free.
They added access gates, they added cameras. We need to look at more energy efficient lighting. I threw in the budget right now, which I don't think I'm going to end up going through with, but because we have a 2-bedroom unit here, I looked at taking this space here and just putting a building right there for a small office.
We are here at the next property we're looking at buying, Wheatland Garden Apartments in Dallas, Texas. It is a property in need of improvements. Now, they've already fixed up the interiors pretty decent, but as you look at the exterior, they did not take care of the exterior, and there's a lot of things that need to be taken care of that haven't been addressed. You can see there's siding issues, there's landscaping issues, there's roof issues, there's everything imaginable. We can go ahead and take care of those, and by taking care of those problems, we create value. When we create value, we refinance the property, take that money out, and give it back to the investor partners that I have.
Okay, the first issue we've run across is there are no sewer cleanouts. So we can't run cameras down there to check out how the sewer lines are.
Every property is different. It's like a different person, a different personality. There's different aspects to it. And that's fun. That's actually the art of what we do, because we have to know what fits right for that property and that clientele to make it the most beneficial for the investors and owners of that property. But we have a whole checklist that we go through, and not everything applies to every property. Different properties have different needs, have different problems that we need to address, and different things to increase the value.
You got to access the sewer through the air vents to go ahead and run the camera down to check the condition. Because this building is the one with foundation problems. So we specifically want to check that because of the sewer lines.
When you inspect a property, you really need to look everywhere. Some things you don't think you're going to see, you see in odd places. For example, we actually have to scope the sewer line, and the way we do that is we run a camera through the vent stack in the roof to go all the way down to look in the sewer system. So we're getting at it at a different angle.
Here's something that's real evident, the damage caused by trees. You can see there was tree branches that came up over the roof, and they've been cut quite a while ago. So there's a couple of evidence things here. Tree branches were up on the roof, and as the wind blew, it rubbed holes right through the roof. So as you can see, right up here on the top of the roof, water, when it rains, comes right inside, okay? So it's not that this is a big repair to do, it's just that the damage that water causes when it leaks in there is bad.
While I'm up on this roof, you can see the damage that the trees have caused.
It's pretty funny, okay, that's the last stage when it causes a lot of damage. This is in the middle stages of a little bit of damage. This is what it started off looking like. As the wind would blow, the trees would rub right through the roof. We can also see there are rain gutters, but they're clogged up with debris from the trees. So you definitely want to keep all your trees trimmed out away from the building to keep from those getting clogged up and keep from damage happening to your roofs, which in turn, when it rains, will cause damage on the interiors.
Now, this is a problem, but it's not major. This is a minor problem, an easy thing to fix. There's much worse.
Okay, I'm looking right into the attic. There is no insulation between the unit into the attic. None. So we need to look at that. And then also, when it rains, in glass windows.
As you walk the property, you can see, like we see in these buildings, some foundation movement, some cracks in the brick. Sometimes this is just normal movement. Sometimes it's indicative of more major problems. So this is something we have to inspect and look closer at. It's also real common in a lot of properties where there's a creek behind this property, for example, where there's more building movement than normal. So we need to address those issues, see if there are problems, and budget for those repairs.
Okay. We just want to take a look at the back again.
Okay, we're seeing movement in different places on the property, but this particular corner looks worse than other ones. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the inside to see if there's actual movement inside that is causing problems with the unit.
Here on both sides of the building.
Yeah, this whole area needs to be lifted, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
something we got a budget for.
Yeah.
One of the other reasons we scope the lines is if there's foundation movement, then those sewer lines can disconnect, and we want to scope those and see if those are problems, because if they're underneath the slab because of that foundation movement, that causes extra problems and extra expense that you might not necessarily see.
Look at all the way down there, some kicked out everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. So they put on all this new hardy board, but kids come in here and just kick it out. They enjoy kicking it out and pulling it out. Well, no surprises on the inside so far. Actually in a lot better condition than I thought they were going to be in. And so this is looking like a good deal. Love the scent. This is the third little go-kart, little whatever they're called, I've seen out here. A footrest. So it's aluminum inside the panel.
Yeah, and it's aluminum outside. I checked that already. The main feeders are aluminum, which that is not that big a deal.
Can you tell if it was pigtailed or not yet?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna.
Properties of this age can have aluminum wiring. Now, it used to be in the past where that would be a big concern, but they've learned how to pigtail those and properly make connections so that it's safe. We need to pull the panels and look at all these to see if it's aluminum wiring and see if it's been pigtailed properly. Because if it's not, that could be a very big expense.
Yeah,
And how many of them are you going to check?
I checked 2 units.
That's all you do is check 2?
Yeah, but I checked devices on both units.
Okay. Okay, good. They're pigtailed. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because I have been wrong. Is aluminum wire runs in, and as the power goes through it, it expands and contracts. And when it does that, it can become loose, and then it'll have a little, it'll have a spark and could cause a fire. So what they do is they pigtail those. They take the aluminum wiring, they take a piece of copper, they tie that together, and then they tie the copper over to the switch. So that way it doesn't have the problem as much of the expansion and contraction between 2 aluminum pieces.
When inspecting the property, I like to talk to the residents. They'll give you the inside scoop on what's going on, what the problems are, what the areas to take care of, if it's good management, bad management, etc.
Carpet that is ripped right there.
Just a little rip there.
Yeah, and the burners that don't work. These 2 burners right here, this one and this one.
Those don't work. Have you
Yeah.
put in a work order, or?
I
you told them?
was gonna do it today because well, I'm not here all the time. I just moved here a week ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that looks good. For here, ceramic tile. I like it.
Although it's a minor issue, if there's been work orders submitted that are not taken care of, that raises a little red flag saying, okay, if they can't even take care of the little stuff, what else are they missing or skipping on?
Chiller's a little too big for the property there. Well, I mean, it's oversized.
Isn't that a good thing?
Well, yeah, but you don't have enough power going to it.
It's
You know,
too
you can't
big.
run it all. Yeah, it's what, 100 and something ton there? More than what they need it for.
A big area of concern is the chiller system. Now, a chiller is one giant air conditioner that services numerous units. This can be very expensive if it's not in good working order. Here we're going to go ahead and check that out and talk to the people that are actually servicing that unit to make sure it's working well.
150 tons.
Yeah, 150 ton chiller. And actually, he's only been running on them 3 compressors up there. This one here hadn't been running on these 2. It's has a bad expansion valve for it to run.
Okay, so we would need an expansion valve to have this side
Yeah,
run.
for this side to run.
But what's nice is if this goes out, then we can actually
Yeah,
we can stage
if you
it
put
too.
it, yeah, if you put expansion valve on this one, what it do is run lead compressor there, and then swap back and forth for you.
So from okay.
Well, it automatically.
It sounds like good news to
Yeah,
me.
the way the carrier runs, it'll run like the lead compressor here, lead compressor there, then another one stage on, the other one stage on. So being 150 ton, you'd never stage it all up.
I know, but they're using it as a maintenance shop right now, but we need to convert it back to a laundry room. Like I said, I mean, $1,000 a month. If we can get $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year in income.
Yeah,
That's $144,000 in value.
yeah. Besides which, if there's nowhere around here,
Right.
people will take their laundry. You know, it's kind of a downside to renting here.
Exactly. So we want to convert that back. And because the office is actually a 2-bedroom unit, they use one of the back bedrooms as the maintenance shop. And for 76 units, you don't need to have too much storage.
Some of them don't.
One of them doesn't have it. I'm on another here.
Okay.
So far everyone.
They look good. Does it look like the valves have been replaced? They look original.
Look original.
Are we seeing any leaks anywhere?
I haven't seen one.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. See anything we need?
Yeah, I thought it would be more.
Okay. I think they were not great.
I think it would be worse, yeah. Mud on the wall. That's what happens when kids don't have very many activities to do. They come up with something creative, such as mud balls against the wall.
I have numerous investors that invest in properties with me. One of the common questions is, how do you get started? I wish I would have gotten started earlier. I was real blessed to have been born into it. At the time, I complained about it because as a young kid, as young as 8, 9, 10, my dad would have me up on weekends and we'd go up and go work on apartments and go do make-readies and clean out units and shampoo carpets and clean pools and take care of the small apartment units that my parents had. Although he was an auto mechanic, he also invested in small rental properties. When I was 16, he switched careers and went into real estate brokerage full-time. Well, he couldn't find any good properties to invest in California, so he bought an apartment property in Duncanville, Texas, a suburb of Dallas. He bought 128 units there. From then on out, we would actually fly out about once a month and come out and work on the apartments here. Well, I loved it. I loved the whole way that apartments work, the investment, how the whole thing came together, how you can make money, how you can create value. Loved it. I actually moved to Texas, where we represented California buyers in buying apartments in Texas. And in 4 years, we bought over 5,000 units, all cash, quick close. I then was the man on the ground overseeing the operations of the property. First, I started off doing the due diligence, handling that part of it. I became a broker and we started our own brokerage company. Broker of record and we started our own management company. And I went through the ranks of the management company, all while buying my own commercial properties. I bought warehouses, office, industrial, apartments, land. I wanted to learn how to develop land, so I went out and bought 22 acres and developed that 22 acres. It's just how I do things. I learn by doing, and I have made millions of dollars of mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I've learned those lessons. That's my education. I have made those mistakes so I don't have to make them again. It's not typical to run across problems while you're at the property, but we happened to have a flood while we were there doing some preliminary inspections.
Take a look at that, poke it in a couple more, and we'll need to flow that in.
One of the things I've learned over the last 25 years is you cannot do this alone. You must have a team. Property management and real estate investing is a lot of work and requires a lot of different trades to be involved. You can't be an expert on all of them. So I'm more like an orchestrator. I love having extra space available to do something with on a property. This is like a diamond in the rough. We have something that we can create value from. Here we have a maintenance shop. Obviously, by looking at it, I can see where there was plumbing connections in the past. So what we need to do is actually put a laundry room in here. That could be revenue of $1,000 to $2,000 a month for this property that we're missing out on, that they're taking down the street to the laundromat. So we need to take and divide this space up. This is a no-brainer, and have a maintenance shop and a laundry room. This adds a lot of income.
So it was paid for a laundry room because you got pipe here for one washing, two go there, two go there, two go there, two go there, and the pipes in the ground over there, coming out the ground. So they wouldn't have had that many pipes for if it had been a big
Well,
one.
it looks like we could still have plenty of room taking that wall out right there, putting the dryers right here, putting the washing machines on that wall, and we put a new wall up right here so you can still have your shop on this side. You still have some.
Well, you could, yeah, you can do that too.
Just divide that in two, just
Yeah.
put the wall there and
Yeah.
separate this out and have a laundry room on that side. Because this is way too much room for one laundry room for
yeah.
76 people.
What you've got to remember is every $1 you raise the income, you raise the NOI by $1, it increases the value of the property by $12. So if we can get $1,000 a month in net revenue from that laundry room, that's $12,000 a year. That laundry room increases the value of the property by $144,000. That's a dang good investment for spending $20,000 to $30,000 on putting in. This was just brought to my attention. Our electrician, while doing his inspections, found this electrical panel with actual fuses in it. This is so outdated that I've never seen it before. So this is kind of interesting to learn something new.
You pull the whole thing out to kill the building.
How old is that?
Oh, 50, 60 years old, yeah. I'm surprised they're still in use.
So you just grab that, yank it out, and power's dead. Just like pulling a fuse. Okay.
Yep.
Here in this.
Yeah, it looks like this one was changed out. I'll add, some panel fillers.
Okay.
There are a few things I hate to spend money on. Driveways are one of them. It doesn't add any direct value to the property, but it's needed. Otherwise, the value of the property will drop. In this particular property, the driveway is in bad shape. Like I said, I've seen worse, but this one is pretty dang bad. So we have to budget quite a bit to be able to make these repairs.
Okay, we've got great courtyard areas. So here's something that we're talking about doing with the courtyard areas. This courtyard already has the mailboxes in it. It's decent size. This courtyard over here is much larger. Depending on what it would cost, I'm thinking about putting in a separate building, like a portable building with patio around it, to turn an office right there in that location so that we can take the unit that's downstairs and turn that back into a unit. Because if that's a unit, that adds an extra $25,000 in value to the property. So if that costs less, then that would be a good thing to do, or if it's going to increase the value in some other manner.
Okay, I'm coming out and doing an exterior walk of the property. I can see the condition and I can see some of the problems there, but it's not performing optimally. I don't know why. So we have to look at that closer to see what the problem is in the office. That means we need to really dig in and see what the collection procedures are, what the leasing procedures are, what the collection process is, who's paying rent, who isn't, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's many things to look at, but it's underperforming and we need to know why to see how we can fix it and if we can fix it. Do you install them then?
The guys will install them.
Okay. 2 bedrooms are how much?
$595.
$595. Any specials?
$299 for the first month.
That's security deposit and move in?
$150.
Market is $625. 1 bedroom's market is $520.
We're doing some research on the property now. The owner says there's only 2 vacant units, okay, which is great. That makes it 98% occupied.
How many units have not paid rent yet?
I just gave her, what did I have it called? I've got it right here.
And looking at it closer, part of the problem I'm seeing is there's about 16 people that haven't paid rent. If they're not paying rent, they may as well be vacant. Worse yet, this is an all bills paid property, so if they don't pay rent, we're paying for their water and their utilities.
And which a lot of them have the promise to pay for today. It goes
18
about
people said
18.
over. So
Actually, from that, 4 people is heavily about more than 1,500, but 3 people they had a payment plan, but 1 person on next door I just give up and just let her stay in there. The reason why she had seven about little children like that one, from newborn to the 10, and then she got another baby on the way.
It's evident by talking to the owner, and he actually said so much, that there are residents in there that he just doesn't have the heart to kick out because they've got kids or something like this.
And her husband just go to Mexico and marry another girl, so she don't know what she can do it. So if
She's got 7 kids and she's pregnant now, and
If I
her
throw
husband
her
ran
out-
off to Mexico.
If I throw her out, she have to sit down the street. There's no one gonna be accepted with the 7 children with a 2-bed.
I don't mean to be calloused, I don't mean to be rude. But the bottom line is you sign a paper, a lease, that says you will pay rent under these terms and conditions, and if you don't, then we will evict you. I feel bad. My heart goes out to the people that can't afford to pay rent. But what's funny is we see them spending money on cable TV and cell phones and things like that. When we haven't received our rent, we're not a charity. We are in it for a profit. So I'm sorry, but we have to evict you if you don't pay your rent. It's real simple. You made a promise, we make a promise back. You promise to pay your rent, we promise to kick you out if you don't. So if you're too nice, it's hard to manage properties.
Not the rent. If they don't pay the rent, it's very easy to go out.
Right.
But if they pay the rent, but they stay there and make a trouble, so we wanna wait.
Do a non-renewal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
How's the judge here?
He's good.
Judge Johnson, he's very,
Judge
very
Johnson.
friendly to the landlord.
Okay,
He's
good.
taking
Yeah,
care
basically go in there, did you pay your rent? No,
Yeah,
okay, get
that's
out.
it.
That's it,
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
no question. Rent or not.
What about 9104? I owe
Yeah,
$1,800.
that's another one that he's got
Yeah,
on a
payment plan on it. 6103 and 7103 and 9104, they're all payment plan.
Holy smokes.
If you don't pay your rent, get the hell out, or we'll set you out.
Here is one of the 2 big units. Robbie, if you want a window unit, $35 a month extra.
that, yeah.
I like that. Kitchen vents, bathroom vents.
Probably better.
Okay.
We're seeing garbage all over the property, just trash. People just are just throwing their trash out, not caring about where they live. The management and the owners need to care about it first to try and get the residents to care about it. They should care. Why they don't, I don't know. But we have to educate them on taking care of the property and how this saves them money in the long run.
Crime prevention through environmental design. Okay. Have you ever eaten it inside a McDonald's?
Sure. Yes.
Is it comfortable?
So.
Okay. So they make it intentionally uncomfortable so you don't camp there. So by design, by their environmental design, they're trying to get people in and out.
Yeah.
Try and design the property so that you're not creating areas where crime can occur.
Right.
Here's an example here. We have a grill here and picnic area,
Right.
and I don't know whether this is true or not, but this is just a thought process. It'd be a great place for somebody to be able to drive down this alley, buy the drugs right there through the fence, they just camped out and sit here.
Right.
Would that happen? I have no idea.
I actually have to laugh at what I do. I make an insane amount of money as a sponsor in real estate transactions. And the reason for that is I've got expertise at turning the properties around and creating value. But I do that for my investors, people that invest money with me. I make them an insane amount of money as well, and I get to profit from that. I've got the best job in the world. I get to make lives better for people that live in apartments. I get to make a lot of money, and I get to make a lot of people happy.
That bad.
Any guesses?
Water
Water valve, yeah. Water faucet.
hanging in the back.
Well, my husband.
You can find it.
There you go. You can find it, grass is not going to grow over it, and it's sealed up. Oh, we got to go back in the back. They've got dogs in a cage now.
Like I said, I love walking properties. You always see the most interesting things. Now this property has limited access gates, which means there's a keypad to go ahead and drive on in, and the property's all fenced off. This is real unusual actually for a property that doesn't have any neighbors around it, because they actually put up a wrought iron fence all the way around the property, which is very expensive. But on the east side of the property, they put it right down the property line, and they walled off, basically separated off the alleyway. Now the alleyway just collects trash and is nasty, so we've got to figure out some way to address that. I've also got to find out if I own that alleyway if I buy the property. As I said, you have to walk the entire property and look at everything. Sometimes this means getting into the weeds. Literally. According to the survey that I glanced at before I came out to the property, we actually own all the way to the other side of the creek. If we bought this property, this would all be owned by me. I need to know what's in there, what's going on. But that being said, nobody's cleaning out this. There's trash being dumped in there. It looks like they trimmed the trees and threw all the trash in there. It's just an eyesore when this could be a nice, pretty aspect of the property. Another opportunity.
All I'm going to do is plan on just cleaning it up. Not promoting it as a amenity. Just clean it up, make it look good. We've got to trim the trees up. Look how low these are. That's a problem too. But basically, just keep it clean.
One of the members of the team is a inspector that inspects the entire property and gives me a property condition assessment. We know exactly what's going on in that property. Brian's my guy for that, and he's the best around.
You know, the edges of the buildings
Right.
are slopes. The
overhangs or just
overhangs.
over time have kind of just started drooping down.
Okay.
So if they
And
become a problem, you come back and you replace
structurally, they're sound. You can lift on them, push on them, not going anywhere, but just they kind of look unsightly.
But that's something that basically we just wait till we have to replace the roof.
Yeah, then to fix them then, because you got to cut 4 feet of the roof back in order to fix it properly, and then you're even going to look more like a patchwork quilt up there. So.
Okay.
Question on the, you're interested in replacing the railings, the expanded metal?
Expanded metal, I don't think that it would be cost effective
To keep it or replace it?
to replace it.
Okay. All right. And then the other consideration was, what do you want to do with the brick? Do you want to try to paint the brick?
I power wash the brick and do that. Do some tuck point on
Okay.
the areas that are cracked, and then just power wash it. Yeah, let's get that paint off and
Yeah.
do that. But then we've also got the parts that are moving, pulling out. So
Yeah.
I have to have somebody with foundation company look at that.
They already did.
They already did?
We walked all these downstairs buildings.
Was there other areas of concern?
This is the main one. Everything's sloping to the creek.
Okay.
Not as bad up at the top of the hill.
Right there on the last one too. Slope into the creek.
Slope into the creek. Yep.
Everything was slope into the creek.
And any other surprises? Anything you see?
No. Where do you want to build your leasing office at?
Okay, this is where we get all of our traffic from, is the drive-by. How's this look to you?
Yeah, maybe you want some better signage.
Better signage, maybe the sign over here so you can actually see it.
In front of the tree.
Yeah, in front of the tree, trim the trees up, get them out of the power lines, and so that they're not ruining the roof like the building in the back.
Yeah.
Get a sign over here with all the traffic right there at Polk and Wheatland.
Yeah.
So you have something that grabs here. At least keep it mowed and looking good.
Right.
Maybe some areas of color. So a sign right here, monument sign with some flowers,
Yeah, that would look
so that
really
people
good.
can see it as they're driving by.
Yeah, that would look really nice.
Because they need to know that this is a separate property than that one. and we need to look better. Let them spend their marketing dollars on advertising, getting people here, and then make ours look better. Okay.
My process is I get the information on the property, I run some preliminary numbers, make some estimates, see if I like it. I then go drive through the property and see if I like the area and the property. Then I meet with a broker or the owner and I look at the property a little bit more in detail, see if I like it then. After that, I go ahead and make an offer and we negotiate a contract. After the contract's negotiated, I put up earnest money and I start doing due diligence. These inspections were part of the due diligence process. I needed to see if everything was as I thought from the preliminary inspections, preliminary numbers. From what I see right now, this looks like it's a very good candidate, and I think we can make some money on this.
Paint that little wave awning up there. I'd do something very creative to that to make it stand out and look something totally different.
Okay.
If you're going to have to replace all gutters, I'd definitely come in here and do gutters with a color. It's just a nice touch. I think most of your money that you're going to do is going to be exterior. Interior seems to be fairly good. I don't know that I would do much to the interior at all. I would probably do a different type of paint when you're turning the units on the interior. That'd be the biggest thing that I would see.
The two-tone?
Yeah.
Okay. You saw they've got two sewer machines, and they seem to utilize them quite a bit.
Right.
According to Brian, it's because of a lot of grease.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have that on this demographic anyway, pouring grease down the drains.
Right.
So we need to have the clean out so that we can keep those pushed through and cleaned out.
Well, I think if you go through and hydrojet them, get them really good and cleaned out, and then get on a maintenance program to where they're treating those lines once a month, pouring chemicals down, that would help.
My preliminary looks at this property, driving through, looking at it, running the numbers. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. I can guess what a good budget is to be able to do all the repairs. We need to have that validated by the inspector's numbers. I need to do that for my own protection and for my fiduciary responsibility to my partners. So Brian's going to go through some of these things. He's going to have a nice big report that says all the problems, and we go ahead and utilize that to firm up our budget.
Okay, we're with Brian Amos with Omni Inspections, and he was hired to go ahead and do the due diligence, all the inspections, physical inspections, and tell us what you did and what you found.
Basically, I consider myself a coordinator of experts. So I bring in different trades and handle all aspects of the property from top to bottom, and coordinate, bids, anything that they find. So we start with the roof, bring out a roofing contractor, take a look at the condition of the shingles, pitch, insulation, and go down to the foundation, bring out a foundation expert. So we walk the downstairs unit, see if they're sloping, what kind of foundation, pier and beam, slab, post tension, see what kind of issues are there. Of course, plumbing. We scope a sampling of sewer lines. We tried to get a good picture of what's going on.
What do we have here, out of curiosity?
You actually have cast iron, some PVC cleanouts with a clay main.
Okay, that's not good. Okay.
Clay main is brittle, so they can easily break, but they'll last for years if there's no trees, obstructions nearby. So they're not too bad.
And we scoped it. Did you get into the clay part of it?
Yes, we did.
And how did that look?
It seems fine.
Okay.
So the clay part runs right down the middle of the property.
Okay.
And then we also brought out someone to look at the HVAC system. This is a 2-pipe chiller system. So basically you have a chiller and a hydronic boiler that heat and cool water that flows through all the units.
Okay.
And the units have a fan coil unit that blows either the hot air or the cold air across to the unit. Those are checked out. Actually, they look like they've used parts here, but they're operational. There's some things that need to be updated on those.
Do we think we'll have some good use out of that in the future, or does that look like something we're going to have to be concerned about?
Do not need to replace them, but you do need to upgrade your electrical to match the proper rating for the chiller specs.
Okay.
And the hydronic boiler is actually oversized for this property, so you have plenty of capacity. I had someone look at all the exterior, from paint, carpentry, metal work, windows, trim, so to get a good scope on any repairs there. And also have a parking lot company come out give a quote for asphalt, any concrete repairs. Here is all asphalt. A couple of potholes need to be filled. Generally, it's not too bad of condition. Had termite inspection, so they walk around exterior of every building, look for signs of termites. And then, of course, we have the interiors. So I have a team of 2 to 3, depending on the size of the property. This one took 2 people. We walk through every unit to have a checklist. It's about 90 points. We go through from the front door to the kitchen, to the bathroom, the bedrooms.
And that all compiles somehow?
We actually collect the data with iPads and they convert that over to an Excel spreadsheet. So I get a number pretty quickly on rehab for interiors.
Okay, good. Now, your report's not complete, obviously, but just as a high-level overview, what do you think of the property, and how does it compare to other similar properties of this age?
Okay, when you first drive into the property, it actually, unfortunately, looks like it needs a lot of work, a lot of paint peeling, a lot of exterior work. When you look a little bit closer, a lot of the wood is actually intact. The wood is not in bad shape, but it does need to be scraped and repainted with a better quality paint, primer, and it looked great. There's hardy board on the exterior, so there's some broken pieces, but in general, that's going to last a long time. So second look, it's actually better on the exterior than it may appear, and I was pleasantly surprised on the interiors. We're finding consistently good quality on the interiors. For this market and for this price point, it's actually above average.
It's above average, so better than you thought, and better than what the typical type property.
Correct, especially in the neighboring area. I've done a few properties in this region, and this is it needs some sprucing up for sure, but it's definitely above average.
Wonderful.
The interiors seem to be in good condition. The owners have spent a lot of money updating those and getting those in leasable condition. Most of the other stuff is all exterior, cosmetic. There's some structural, and there's some other things that are concerns, but all of it will fall within the budgeted numbers that we got. So it looks like we're going to be moving ahead.
All of you, because this is the make-ready board, and that's how you use it. Okay, it's bullshit. The things that they're doing out there, and if I can go talk to them,
the owner is pissed off about this freaking unit. I'm not going to do this anymore.